Welcome back, everyone, to John Redmann, Power of Attorney. Now is your chance to join the conversation. John and attorney Danny Hines, who is with Walker Daily Law Firm, are ready to answer your questions about some of the legal and insurance challenges that some of you may be facing. Now, you can tweet us at John Redmann POA. You can post your questions on our Facebook wall, or you can send us an email at questions@johnredmannpoa.com.
Thank you, Shauna. And remember, everyone, we're answering questions today. That does not in any way constitute a legal consultation. We can answer questions, but a real consultation requires study of the details of your individual facts in a face-to-face or at least on the phone consultation with a lawyer. So please don't consider this in any way legal advice. Okay,
well, we have lots of questions. I hope you all are ready for the challenge here.
Give it a shot.
Okay, all right. The first one is from Jeff in Laplace, and just one of many areas that flooded that people were not expecting it. But here's his question. He said, I heard I should only hire state-licensed crews to remove debris from my property. Is that true? Can I just hire some teenagers from my neighborhood to do it?
If you don't mind, the short answer I'll give is you should hire licensed contractors who have insurance. If something goes wrong, if they do damage, if they do a job wrong, well then at least you have the likelihood that they can pay for their mistakes. That's the short answer.
You get what you pay for. And I don't think at this point in time, when you're dealing with the complicated, potentially complicated claims that you have, you want to go on the cheap.
Right.
What you want to do is hire someone who knows what they're doing and get it done well.
Right, and I know a lot of people had a lot of problems dealing with contractors after Hurricanes Katrina and Rita and Gustav and all of those, and they don't want to have to go through that again. So is it just a matter of asking, are you licensed?
No.
No. That happened too. A lot of people learn this the hard way.
The hard way, right.
People will tell you what you want to hear, but you need to tell them, show me your license. Don't just take their word for it. You need to ask to see their contractor's license.
And they should have that on the spot. If I ask if you're there and I'm talking to you and I ask to see it, that contractor should be able to produce it.
And if they don't have it handy, say, well, come back when you have it, because frankly, I don't know you that well.
Shauna, one of the things that you've got to be aware of too is the insurance company doesn't pay for the mistakes of a contractor. So if you hire someone that's not qualified to do repairs and they do poor work or sloppy work, however you want to characterize it, that's on you. That's not on the insurance company. They're paying for the value of the repair job or the damages accomplished, by the storm. But you've got to be careful in who you select to do your work, because if they do shoddy work, you can't go back to the insurance company and say, give me more money because they screwed up.
On that note, and Danny brings up a really good point, by the same token, you're not required to use a contractor that your insurance company recommends to you. Some people think, well, I thought I had to because my insurance adjuster from the insurance company said, use Joe Blow Contractors, Inc. No, you don't. But you are required to use somebody who is licensed, and that way you're protected if they do a bad job.
Well, it sounds like what both of you are saying is that even with the stress and the frenzy of it all, you really do need to take some time to do your homework and make sure that you have a licensed contractor working to repair your home.
Make haste slowly.
Slowly.
Well, it doesn't take that much time. Just say, in the phone book, people advertise whether or not they're licensed, but also ask them to show you proof that they're currently licensed.
Okay, let's move on to another question. This one comes from Jenny from Braithwaite, and we know that that is a community that's really suffering. She says, my house suffered some extensive damage from Isaac. The insurance company told me they would only replace what I'd taken an inventory of. Is that true? Am I actually expected to take an active inventory of things that I own? John.
The short answer is, especially in Braithwaite, everybody there got horrible flooding.
Right.
I mean, goodness gracious, that just...
Lots of important documents washed away.
It's the inventory that Jenny's talking about there is your toasters, your sofas, your refrigerators. Some of that stuff is demolished in homes, and it's in muck, and it's just a mess. And I don't believe that an insurance company can require you to do a forensic piece-by-piece unraveling. I don't think it's fair, I don't think it's just, and they may be subjecting themselves to penalties. I would ask that adjuster to put in writing that they're requesting that and bring that to an attorney because I don't think that's fair.
Well, you represent those companies, so
No, you do have to
John.
list all your losses, but I believe this Jenny might have been one that contacted me, and she said the adjuster wanted the serial numbers off the back of every item, every piece of electronics, or they wouldn't pay for it. That's too much. But to say you have to list each item, that's fair.
Okay.
No, I agree with John. Serial numbers, no. But the insurance company is entitled to a submission of a proof of loss, where you list the items that were in your house. As best you're able, to recall. And we're talking, if in Braithwaite, a potential total damage scenario, but you can list the items, and you can try to list as best you can an estimated price or value that you assign. Now, I'm not going to say the insurance company's going to agree with everything, but it's a starting point. But you can say, yes, toaster, yes, sofa, yes, bed, linens. I mean, you could identify the common things.
But is it unrealistic for an insurance company to want very specific information like serial numbers and things of that nature?
To be honest with you, I never saw that in the cases in which I dealt. I never saw that demanded. Because
it sounds wrong. I don't think, if an adjuster's asking for that, I think that adjuster's out of line.
Okay.
I never saw it myself.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to our next question. This comes to us from Lacey on Twitter. She says, the power in my house went out and all of my frozen food was ruined and the stench is unbearable. Does my homeowner's insurance cover this? What about that food that you lost?
How many people can erase from their memory the stench when they returned to town and found their refrigerators that had been without power for weeks or longer? The short answer is, I believe your homeowner's insurance should cover it if the power was out. If it was as a result of flooding, it may be something your homeowner's policy points to the flood insurance, says talk to your flood insurer. There may be some of this going on. Danny, what do you think?
I think policy language governs. And you can't give, I think John gave a fair general answer, but policy languages could govern in terms of what is covered or what is not covered. I think the common experience in terms of at least replacement of food items damaged was pretty universal under homeowners policies, but you've got to look at the policy.
Your insurance contract, that policy, it'll usually have a provision in there. You can ask your insurance agent who sold you the policy, and they'll give you a straight answer. In my experience, you're not going to have trouble getting paid as long as you have insurance on your property for what was damaged and lost. Your refrigerator may be a loss if you were unable to get to it. In Braithwaite, you were not able to get to it for a long time. And so you may get a new refrigerator. You ought to get a new refrigerator if you were in Braithwaite.
Okay.
If you had flood insurance.
Adam from New Orleans says, what is the difference between replacement costs and actual cash value for home or contents? Big difference there? Big difference,
huge difference. And the main thing is actual cash value. What's it worth today? If it's a 10-year-old sofa, if it's a 10-year-old table, and it's not an antique that it becomes more valuable with time, it's worth a lot less than replacement cost. Replacement cost is go out and buy something in equal quality and style, new, to go buy it new, never without the dents and scratches and wear and tear.
Without the depreciation.
Without any depreciation.
Without any depreciation.
So hopefully, if after the fact you're trying to get your policy to pay, you've got replacement value. Replacement value is worth more.
And that should be spelled out in your policy.
Yes, indeed.
Is that right?
You pay
clear
for
language,
that.
and you pay extra for replacement value, and it's clearly spelled out in your policy.
Okay, all right, and I think that we have time for one more question. This comes to us from Chris from the North Shore. He says, I live in St. Tammany Parish, and I didn't have renter's insurance for my apartment, and most of my belongings were destroyed by flooding from Isaac, so am I out of luck? Is Chris out of luck?
I got to tell you, Chris.
I feel your pain, Chris.
Generally, if you rent, that means you don't own the structure. You're renting, so you can live inside that structure. If you had flooding in that structure and you didn't have your own insurance to cover your contents in that structure, you're in a bad way. Your insurance, the homeowner, excuse me, the owner of that property, hopefully that person had protection to protect the structure, to pay for the structure damage. But if you didn't have your own insurance to cover the contents that were damaged, your own contents in that apartment, I think you can have a real hard time getting anybody to pay for that.
Okay.
That's the short answer.
Danny?
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add to that? Well, you know.
You weren't going to correct me?
No, what I'm going to do is just let you just drift off to the side.
Oh, thank you, Danny.
Oh, well, Chris learned a lesson probably the hard way.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, but we certainly wish him a lot of luck. Well, listen, thank you all so much for being with us on this inaugural episode of Power of Attorney. We hope that we have helped you. Stay with us, because coming up next week, we're going to continue the conversation. We're going to take your questions, and we'll have lots of very important issues that we'll discuss. Thanks so much for watching.